Alright, y'all. Welcome back to the Antique Geek Garage. Feels good to be recording again, and like always, I made some bad financial decisions. So, I traded a dirt bike for a car. I got myself a 2006 Chevy Cobalt SS, and I used to have an '07 actually, and I traded the '07 for the dirt bike, traded the dirt bike for this one. Now, of course, trading a dirt bike for a car, and this has a clean title, and it's in my name already, so to do that, of course, there has to be something wrong, and we'll get to that, but first I'll show you a little bit around the car. This is one of the cleanest Cobalts I've actually ever seen in person. I love the wheels. Those are absolutely amazing with the silver color. Um, the interior really doesn't have anything special. It has Recaro seats though. Dirty '06 Cobalt, and they took the radio. Dang it. And there's window tint. It's been used. You can tell it's been owned by a young fella because it has all the young fella mods, and I kind of like it. It sounds super loud, and it does run and drive. But the issues start under the hood, like everything I buy. Underneath our carbon fiber hood, with no hood prop, is the legendary 2.0 LSJ from Chevy. So this is an Ecotec, 2 liters, running a M62 supercharger, and it's like has major blow by and burns a lot of oil. And I'm told by the previous owner that it should be piston rings, and I do believe him, because he has a lot of receipts for work that's been done. But there's a torque bar across the top. Obviously this supercharger has been painted. Some ZZP pipes have been put on. This fake chintzy intercooler, which I might be able to get a new one because the '07 Cobalt that I had, it had a cold air intake from ZZP, and it was turbo swapped because I know the person that I traded it to, and I might get that back. So I might get my 3-inch ZZP intake back, which I think are the best, and they make this supercharger so loud. So we're gonna pull the engine because, it's hard. Although I do trust that its piston rings are the issue, it's hard to trust other people's work because this engine has been taken out and rebuilt already. So I'm probably just gonna put in rings and valve seals, and that's like basically all that's probably wrong with this. But we're gonna see. Maybe there's a hole in the piston. Who knows? It has a little bit of a gallop, so I wouldn't mind also checking compression before we take it apart. So let me get some tools, and we'll get these coils out and run ourselves a compression test. Alright, so we're going to start with just ripping off the hood because it's in the way, and it's also super light. It's probably going to explode into a million pieces when I'm driving down the highway at the speed limit, but I'd rather have an eventful day than a boring day. That's custom, by the way. So it's probably just, 10 mil bolts. I'll give you a 10 mil. Sweet. Wow, look at all this room for work. So the next thing I want to do is take these coils out. I'll just take 2 out. So we're taking these coils out, and the biggest reason is because I want to run a compression test that has a little bit of a gallop, like a horse, but not an expensive one because it doesn't sound quite right. And that means there's low compression, or pretty much just low compression in one of the cylinders when you hear it, and it's cranking and has a gallop, where it's an uneven crank, and it starts pretty quickly, so it's a lot harder to hear it. But when we take these coils off, you'll be able to hear it a lot better because it'll be not able to start and just crank. So, just looking at this plug, there's definitely some oil. Oh, I can't believe I didn't break it. What is this? This is an NGK plug. I'm probably gonna buy Delco's, maybe some NGK. We'll see. Whoa. This one is NGK. Completely different. We're running different plugs. That's not a good sign. 3 of the same plugs, one's different. It means I'm definitely going to be getting a new set. All running rich / bunch of oil. Nothing to worry about. That all opened up. It's time to crank. So typically when you're cranking, you would have your throttle body open the whole way. This is going to be electronic, so there's no cable, there's no throttle cable, it's all drive-by-wire. I don't know if it'll actually open with me keeping my foot to the floor, but I'm going to try that. And being that it's supercharged, it's also going to be forcing air in the cylinders anyway. So I'm not worried about the air thing. And this is just a Hobo Freight Deluxe compression tester kit, pneumatics. I like the pretty easy setup it has. Just this metal rod that screws in. And then this guy just attaches like an air attachment. Crank it over until it gets to the max point, and we'll see what we're running. I don't know the exact healthy spec for this engine, but probably like 160 is a good number across the board. Good. Wow, that's really good. That's 178 about on cylinder 1. Cylinder 2, go for it. Cylinder 2 is 120, so we can already see we're going to have to check cylinder 2, and that might be our low cylinder. A little over, we're pushing 160, so that's still fine. I would be happy with that. This one's barely breaking 100, so we got 2 cylinders, cylinder 2 and 4, from the driver's side to the passenger side, which might be actually 1 and 3, low compression. It's kind of weird, we got 2 cylinders that are low and 2 that are good, but judging by the mismatched spark plugs, I'm wondering if there's some mismatched rings going on. So we're going to take it, the whole way apart and see what happens. Hopefully it's just rings and or valves is my guess. We can lap valves or put new valves in and stuff like that. But I hope it's just rings or something small, because I don't want to dump a ton of money into this car. I just want it to run good and have fun. Because I'm either keeping this car or trading for a Mustang. So let's get to work. I'm going to just start ripping this engine out, and we'll kind of time lapse it because there's a lot of little details. So yeah, let's just get to work. Alright, quick disclaimer, I was putting this video together. It was supposed to be time-lapsed, but my GoPro, what a mess. So I'm going to try to film the next video with just my iPhone and see how that works out. But the GoPro was a big mess. So I don't know what I'm doing, but it was wrong. So I apologize for that, and I hope you still enjoy the little bits that I got in here. I think 6 more. Alright, so we kind of hit a halt for the day, and it's because of these eTorx bolts on the supercharger. As you can see here, they're like inverted Torx. They're called eTorx. I don't have any eTorx sockets, and I can't believe I made it this far in my business without having eTorx sockets. Usually you can use a 10mm and they'll come off. I didn't want to risk it. Having a supercharger stuck is better than not having a supercharger at all, but I would much rather get it off. So the more we dig into this, the kind of weirder things we find. I want to check those injectors. I don't know if those are actually 60-pound injectors, which is what I was told. Looking in my bore scope, I could look inside the engine, and a lot of oil, so it's definitely burning oil, either rings or, valves. Besides that, we'll get the rest of this stuff off tomorrow. Really, bell housing, engine mounts, wiring hoses, supercharger. We made some progress. Unfortunately, we just didn't get that far. I'm going to clean the interior, but it's boring, so I'm not going to record it. I'm going to clean the interior, get it looking perfect inside so that whenever this car is running and driving, it's one less thing we have to do before it's on the road for good. So we'll catch you guys tomorrow when there's more daylight and we have stuff to do. Alright, y'all, welcome back. It's the next day. So I went and picked up those eTorx sockets. I have them sitting over here on my desk. Here they are. It's these like Starbit ones, like 20 bucks. Gets you both of those from Harbor Freight. And like I said, those were for this guy down here, and I already got the other one out. I have the heater running. I apologize, but it's actually pretty cold. It's like the end of May, and it's still cold here in Pennsylvania. So for some reason, we have a cold spell of like 40, 50 degree days, and I'm tired of being cold. So we're running the heater, and it's not even that cold. I'm gonna let it run for a while. I checked a little bit of the footage yesterday. I noticed the camera being so far back, you couldn't really see a ton of the work I was doing. I'm gonna try to set you up a little bit more like right here while I figure out how to tear this apart. Now, I've never pulled an engine on an Ecotech or LSJ, so I don't really want to give like, hey, do this, do that. Once I get it apart, I'll kind of go over the highlights and things that save me time and things that I could have done differently. But I'm gonna keep pressing away to try to get this engine out as soon as possible so that we can get the rest of this car out of here and start diagnosing. So I'm gonna get right to work. I'll set you up and sit back and relax. Alright, so I'm almost done with like getting stuff out of the way. I mean, particularly the front side of the engine is, well, pretty much 100% unplugged and taken care of. The exhaust is off. Really, the biggest thing is transmission and some of these heater core hoses right here. But I know that this engine could possibly be out for a while, like a good long while. It could be like a month or 2 months till this engine goes back in, because my life outside of running this garage is always insane. So if I end up moving, which is the most likely route that's happening in the nearby future, this is very much so on hold because I just need to keep the business going, and this is just my personal vehicle. So I don't know. This is a tricky one. So I'm thinking about taking the transmission off. That way I can put the subframe back up in and all the suspension, and this can roll around just fine. And taking the transmission off would allow me, because if you look here, there's very little space between the block and the frame. So getting the taking the engine out without taking the transmission off just seems very hard. I don't even know if it's doable, honestly, but it probably is with some finesse and force. But why not just drop the subframe, take the transmission off completely, and then once the transmission's off, then we'll just pull the engine straight up out with no issues at all. So I think that's the route I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm going to crawl underneath. I'm going to be underneath for a while. I might show you some little bits and pieces. I'm going to be getting this subframe unbolted. I know it's basically just like sway bar links, and then taking the steering and leaving that. I'm going to take the steering rack off of the subframe, just 4 bolts, and let that sit just like up on the car and like ratchet strap it or bungee cord it in or something. I think that's the best way to take the subframe down. Once the subframe's down, transmission will be fairly easy. Just, you know, axles and stuff have to come down. So I'm probably going to do that, and then once this car is like fully apart and I roll it back outside and it's just sitting and waiting for the engine work to be done, I'll probably just put that transmission in the trunk. So that's the plan. But I'll check in once I get, you know, something done or one thing or the other. I just want to make this a smooth and easy process for moving this car, because if I do move shops, which is a small possibility, but is a possibility in the future, if I do move shops in the next month or 2 months, I can take the car with me and not have to worry about putting it back together and then loading it on a trailer. It'll be just a roller. So let me get this stuff all taken care of, crawl up underneath. I'm sorry I'm kind of speeding up the whole engine removal process, but I would rather spend more time talking about the engine disassembly and diagnosis and repairing the low compression and lots of burning oil and blow-by. So I'm going to do all this and then we'll get her out. Alright, so when I talk about, this is an example, not trusting other people's work, I'm not insulting others' mechanical comprehension and skill levels. I'm just saying a lot of people take shortcuts, especially if they know they're going to sell a car. Oh, it's not mine, they won't know, this, that, and the other thing. This is the kind of stuff that gets people killed large scale, but on a small scale, it causes problems that causes people like me and the buyers just, what is that sound? What could that be when you know stuff's been replaced? So I'm taking a look here. First thing I notice on this sway bar link is that it's greasable. I'm like, sweet, this has been replaced. This is a greasable sway bar. I'm super happy to see that. The aluminum lower control arm from ZZP and the ZZP shocks, like this stuff looks pretty good. And as I take this nut off the top and I drop this down, this is not even tight. I didn't touch anything down there. This was never tight. You know, it's the small things like that are so minute and so overlooked that would cause a weird vibration or weird noise when you're driving and a sound that you didn't quite understand. And that's why it's good to look over cars. That's why it's good to not trust other people's work. So I stand by it and I believe in it. And that's not to say that I've done, you know, perfect work in every car that I've ever sold. So, and I might not have been the previous owner. That could have been the guy before him, and he just never knew. So it's always good to watch out for stuff like that when you're buying projects and cars that you know have been really torn apart. And I know this car has been really torn apart because I was told it was really torn apart. So keep an eye out for things like that. But I'm going to finish dropping this subframe and get this out of the car so we can rip this transmission out. Alright, so it's yet the next day. It's Sunday. I should have recorded more yesterday. I just completely forgot. I was so focused on getting this engine out that it's gone. Engine's out, transmission's out, subframe's out. There's the wiring harness to an LSJ. There's the LSJ. So this engine, I mean, it don't look, on the outside, don't look anything but dirty, but we have low compression, so we're going to dissect this thing here today. Well, maybe today, it depends. I just pressure washed the subframe. It's not perfect. I just washed it to go back in. I'm probably going to repaint it with fresh black paint before it goes back in the car. But I would like to highlight how clean this car is. I spent a little bit of time in here just kind of cleaning away the seats and the carpet and everything, and it turned out absolutely beautiful. I think it looks better in person than on camera, and that doesn't happen too often. It's just so nice inside. So I also got the window up because that window was down. I put all the parts neatly in the trunk. They didn't need clean, but they're neatly in there. I took the spare block, which is over here, and I put that all down there. The transmission is over here. That's going to be washed. That old junky intake, I ended up buying back my original intake that was on my 07 because it's now currently turbo swapped. So I got that 3-inch ZZP intake in the trunk, ready to go. So this car it's getting there. Now once I tear down this engine, we'll see what else we need. I'm assuming, you know, valve seals, and I'm going to buy a full gasket kit for the engine. So valve seals, I already have rings, presuming that it's factory bore. And then we'll just tear it apart and get this low compression thing fixed. And then once we get all that put back together, hopefully it doesn't need major head work or the head isn't warped or something ridiculous. But if it all goes smooth, it'll just go right back together, all clean. Every piece is going to be clean and nice. I was going to paint the block red. I thought that would have been cool. There's a lot of red accents on this car already, but I'm just going to leave it the way it is. You can't really see the block anyway. It's so covered by this humongous supercharger intake. So I'm going to leave it the color it is, just the natural aluminum, but I'm going to wire it up and polish it and make it look nice and pretty. So I want this car to look real nice. I mean, the body is absolutely beautiful. The interior is already absolutely beautiful. And then underneath, especially for being a Pennsylvania car, it's just unreal how clean this car is. So, especially for a 2006. So I want to make it even cleaner than it was when I got it. And the more I work on it, the more I want to keep it around. So hopefully I can make my decision here at some point, whether it's going to be sold, traded, or kept. It's leaning towards keeping it, but we'll see what happens. I think it depends on other things. I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to grab the subframe, and we'll get this subframe mounted up in this car. Here's our subframe. Once again, not perfect, but it's ready to go back up in. Should be easy. I'm just going to use 2 jacks, lift it up in. Steering rack I have held up with a bungee cord, and both tie rods are connected anyway, so that shouldn't be much of an issue. I'm just going to clean off this oil that's everywhere, so that when I'm putting it back together, I'm not getting re-dirty. Once I get all that oil cleaned, once again, it's just going right up in. So I'm just doing the subframe so I can put the wheels on and roll this out of here, because I still operate a business out of this building. So I have a timing belt and water pump to do. So that's why I did this over the weekend. I knew I could get this out and then get it out of the shop. So I should get this on so I can roll it around, and then we'll then get into the engine. Alright, so I got 2 jacks holding the subframe up, one on each side. I got 4 bolts, 1 staged on each corner. It's a 21 mil, so we'll climb under here. So this guy, and then there's one on each side on the back. So I'm gonna get these subframe bolts up in and then tighten it down, and we should be able to start moving on the control arms. Alright, here we have it. It's all down on the ground. It looks so ridiculous because there's no weight up front, so it's sitting like rock crawler mode, but it's all together. It's ready to roll. I'm gonna get the hood on. I'm gonna grab a helping hand, throw the hood on, and then I'll take these towels out. And once these towels are gone, close the hood, rip this thing right outside with the other ones. But the next point of focus is gonna be this engine. So I'm going to drain the oil real quick, and we're going to start to tear this thing apart slowly but surely and examine everything as we go down to see what is causing our low compression and anything else that might need to be replaced. That way tonight I can order the parts that I need for this car, and then I can also edit this video and get it uploaded, because I haven't uploaded in like a century. So this is going to be tearing this apart, will be the conclusion of this video. So I'm going to get the camera set up, we're going to drain the oil, and we're just going to dive right into this. First thing I'm going to do is drain the rest of the oil that's in here. Some people say you have to drain the oil before you pull the engine. Yeah, sure, it might save you a mess. The only mess I made is with coolant, so it really didn't make a difference. There we go. I'm trying to look here. Oh, I do see some shininess in here. Nothing like horrible, but like there's definitely some shine in there. More than I would care to see. So we got some metal. It's not a good sign to start, but maybe that's pointing us in the bearings direction to do as well while we're in here, because he did include an extra set of rod bearings, I think. So like, why would you just randomly include those? So I'm assuming there's a correlation there. Alright. Comes our valve cover. I'm taking a look at the lobes. I mean, there's normal wear, but it doesn't look like any of these lobes are wiped. So usually there's bolts in the bottom of this. This can be our AC. I might try to get an AC delete fully before I put this back together. If not, I'm just going to take the lines and everything off. in the process of removing this head, I think I'm gonna take the pulley off of the crank, and then timing chain tensioner, take that off, take off our upper timing guide. Then that'll get the chain loose, get the chain off, loosen both our cam gears, leave the camshafts on the actual cylinder head as of right now. That'll get kind of the head all figured out. I don't know about this water pump stuff, man. This is insane. The water pump drive and all that. But if I can, I might just leave all that on here. Just take the head off, take the bottom of the block apart, and leave the water pump the way it is. I might do some sort of like counterbalance shaft deletes and things and stuff so I can rev this thing to the moon. But as of right now, get this pulley off and start getting our head ready to pull. Yet some more bad news. Check this out. I was just putting this together. When I took off this crank pulley, all I did was heat it up and then used a pry, or I didn't even use a pry bar, I just heated it up. I was able to wiggle it off. I didn't have to use a puller, so just let you know, you probably don't have to. The footage, that clip is cut off at 11 seconds. I don't know why. So yeah, don't worry about a puller. Alright, so the camera did some weird trippy thing. I don't know if it got all of the last teardown, but I got 12-point sockets now. These were at my house toolbox. So that's what I need to finish getting the head off. So I'm just gonna time lapse getting the head off, doing the oil pan, crank, and I'll let you know what we find. Hopefully an obvious answer, but hopefully a cheap answer. So we'll see what we get into. I'm really trying to sound optimistic here, but there is a lot of metal inside this pan. Like, it is shiny. And it's a little sad to see, you know, when you buy an engine and they say they just rebuilt it and needs rings and stuff. I mean, what can you expect? It's Facebook, but that sucks. But I guess I'm gonna take everything out and see what's savable, see what's not savable. I'm kind of hoping that we can save like most of this, but I got low hopes. So let me tear this down and see what is disintegrated. Alright, so it is all torn down. That's a pretty much bare block. There's some timing components and the water pump, and well, that's about it. A few sensors. This is basically a bone LSJ. A few things to note. It's really hard to see with the camera, but the cross hatching is great. Good cross hatching. I'm really happy to see that. On the bottom side of the engine, which I can't show you, everything looks great. I'll have to flip it over here. Everything looks great. So I'm looking and I'm like, man, there has to be something causing all this metal. Here's our parts on the floor. I have these all labeled. All our pistons, our rod caps, our main bearings on the engine side. and our crank. And I'm looking at all of our journals, and they all look really good. Except for this one, where both rod caps were like stuck. So I didn't even take this off yet. There we go. And sure enough, yep. That would be our metal issue. So that would be on piston or on cylinder 2. I think cylinder 2 actually had good compression. 2 and 4 were the ones with good compression. So yeah, this would be 1, 2, 3, and 4. These two on the same timing spot. So cylinder 2 has these destroyed rod bearings. I'll leave them tucked up in there. Now I will say the crankshaft doesn't really look that bad. So although that will have to be addressed, I'm pretty happy to say that was our metal, and that I'm probably just going to put in all new bearings, which is not what I wanted to do. I was hoping I didn't have to, but after seeing the metal, I wanted to check everything. So new bearings, new rear main are going on the list. That looks great. I checked out everything on there. Here's our head. So obviously we're burning tons of oil, lots of black. Now this would be backwards, so cylinder 1's up here. Cylinder 1, no majorly obvious issues, except for maybe this intake valve is not closed the whole way. Alright, I grabbed a light to help us out. Cylinder 1, which is on the right side, intake valve there, looks like it might not be fully closing. Depending on where our cam is though. We'll have to check that. It should be in a fairly neutral position. And then of course we have some valves open over here, but judging by the fact that they're both intake open, I'm assuming that the cam is just pushing down on this. I'm probably gonna pull all of our valves, and I've never done valve springs or anything on a big engine. I've always done small engine stuff, so I'll have to buy a tool. Probably gonna take the valves out, just clean everything very good, look for any obvious damage or holes. Maybe if I'm feeling spunky, I'll grab my caliper and I'll actually measure this so that I can check the clearances and stuff. But most likely I'm just gonna clean all those as long as I don't see anything majorly wrong. Replace the valve seals. Valve seals could definitely be an issue. And then I didn't even look at our piston rings, but I'm gonna take a look at those. And they look like factory bore size, so we should be good to throw in regular factory rings, and then that should solve our big engine issues. So let me take a look here. Wouldn't you believe it? I found the issue. This is causing the low compression and is the reason we tore this whole thing apart. It's actually the wrong piston I just grabbed. Cylinder 1 and 3 are bad ones. This is 1. Do you see that? This piston is cracked. In multiple spots. And bent. See that? This one and cylinder 3 are the low ones. And sure enough, right there on cylinder 3, can't hardly see it very good, but they're both cracked. So this went from a ring job to now we need pistons. Now, coincidentally, I do have a spare block, which I don't intend on using, but it did have 4 pistons with it. And they're probably back there or in the... Nope, they're right here. I take that back. And this one's destroyed. They're all destroyed. So, alright. It looks like we're getting new pistons, all new bearings. and gaskets, and we'll clean up the valves anyway because they're apart. So clean them up, throw in new valve seals. It's kind of ridiculous to do this full rebuild and not put in new valve seals. But that's it. Cracked pistons. Would you believe it? So I did think that it would have been rings or something, or valve seals. I mean, the low compression, I mean, it was pretty low, I'm not gonna lie. I should have known better, but that's all it was. Cracked pistons. So now we have a full rebuild to throw at this. It might be a couple days, a week, 2 weeks. I don't know when the next time I'll be filming because it depends on how busy my garage is. And also the schedule of when I order these parts. I'm sure getting, good quality stuff isn't going to be cheap, and that will factor into this. I'm still not made of money yet, so it depends, but I would like to have this car running ASAP. Like, the rest of the car is beautiful. So, I mean, fixing this engine or throwing in a used engine, I don't want to do, but it's possible. I'd rather just rebuild this one. Putting in this engine or a engine is all it needs. So to kind of speed up the process, I'm going to try to prioritize this a little bit more. I know the Camaro has been a project that's been on this channel multiple times, and the engine is still sitting on the floor. That one's going to not be done for a while, but this I'm going to try to prioritize. If you guys watched this far into the video, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. I'm sure there's not very many of you, and I'm thankful for each and every one of you, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have comments and suggestions, I would love to hear them. I read them, so if you have anything you suggest, anything you saw that I didn't see, anything you want to see different with the filming style, anything I should add on to, or film less, more in depth, less time lapses, more, that kind of thing, I would love to hear it. And the one last thing I would like to say is, what would you guys do if you had this car, and if you, after the rebuild's done, profit, we're looking at, like, if I sold this car for a low end price because of how cheap I'm in this car, I could make, $4,000 to $4,500 profit. That's after the cost of the car, cost of parts. I'm not going to count my labor into that. So just like the amount of dollars I've dumped into it, take that out, $4,000 profit, $4,500 maybe, depends on the selling price. What would you guys do? Would you keep it? Would you sell it? Honestly, I would love to keep it. Everyone that I know tells me, just sell it, you'll make, all this money. And I'm like, yeah, but especially when it's done, it's going to be unique, it's going to be different, it's going to be a very, very good car. It is going to be perfect. This car is absolutely beautiful. There's not an issue with it once I'm done. So it just makes me want to keep it even more, put this one in a collection, actually really take care of this car and keep it a summer car. But I'm interested. I want to hear all these sides and all the opinions. So that's it for this episode of AGG. Thanks for watching. The next episode will be one of two things. It'll be either the cleaning and reassembly, or just the cleaning and prepping and replacing suspension and getting everything ready. And then the third episode would be assemble it, put it in. So it's going to be hopefully 3 episodes total, but it could be 2. So just stay tuned. It could be 2 weeks, could be a month, hopefully sooner than you think. I'm doing my best. I'm working as hard as I can. See all of y'all in the next video.